OCM Haichka cousin Huilam Legislature Bryce Williams for drumming us in. Really appreciate that good medicine and starting off our meeting and starting off our session in a good way. Misep Kukwelam, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our first meeting of our spring 2026 session. Haichka to Legislature Terry Splachton, Spalautuit, and Quamtanot, Laura Splachton for the table song. To Chris Ramsey from Ramsey Catering for providing a nourishing meal to get us going for this evening. We're ever so grateful. Before we start into tonight's full business, I would like to call upon Elder Costania Ruth Adams, also known as Stepson, to open up our time together with a prayer.
Hello, everyone. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Creator, thank you for this beautiful day on this beautiful earth. Thank you for this legislative meeting. Please keep on blessing all of our chief and four executive counselors and all of the legislators and all of the staff who are involved with our nation. Bless them as they do this work for all of the people of this nation, all of the new relatives who came home. Bless them and bless the chief and executive for keeping this nation going in a healthy way and welcoming back all of the relatives coming home. And most of all, we thank our ancestors, all of them, for saving this land, for all of us to enjoy and bring up all our generations and generations and generations of children coming home here. Please bless this night. Bless all of the legislators, chief and executive, and all the staff who put in all of the work. Bless them all as they do this work, and that everyone is so proud of our nation for doing all of this work. It's not a little thing for such a progressive nation. So bless them as they do this work, and bless everyone that's here, and bless this place. This place is a little heritage place because everything started from here. So thank you, Creator, for this day. Thank you for our chief and executive and all of our legislatures, all of the staff, and all the members who are here tonight to listen and learn what all of our legislatures are doing and saying. So bless everyone and their families. I ask this in Jesus' beautiful name. Name the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. All my relations, north, south, east, and west.
O Siam Haichka Kustania, for your kind and thoughtful words about caring for us and asking the Creator to watch us and guide us through our work, whether we are legislatures, staff, or our family and friends that are in the gallery. Welcome back, legislatures, for another, I hope, exciting spring session. I guess it'll be up to you how exciting it is. So it's nice to see all of our faces again gathered around the table. We have a lot of work to do, as we always do in our spring session. But as you have proven in the past, you are all up to the task. We'll move through each day. We'll like to keep in mind our motto for the term in mind, not Samot, for our current and future generations. I'll say that again, not Samot, working together as one heart, one mind, for our current and future generations. And that's how we'll guide our work through this session. Welcome to all the elders that are in the gallery. Thank you for coming here and sharing your strength. Your presence means a lot to us for the work that we do. Thank you to the Advisory Council for sacrificing the days that you have to meet in the future between first and second reading and preparing reports for us. Thank you for being here to listening to this opening session. Thank you to the community members that have come here to support their legislative relatives, to support the staff that are in here, or just here to listen as well and observe. Thank you to the staff that are required to be here. Thank you for answering the call to be here to work for us, and those staff that are here for their oath ceremony. We're really happy to bring you here today to say your oath. And thank you to those that are joining us on live stream. To that end, I would like to acknowledge that Legislature Melinda Cassidy Squamia is participating online today as she is not feeling well, and Legislature Mary Ann Adams sends her regrets. She is not feeling well as well, so let's send prayers of wellness to our relatives. Finally, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome back to our feather runner for the evening, Madison Jacobs-Mayall. Madison, can you stand up so I can see you? Where are you? There we go. Thank you. Thank you for coming back, Madison. We really appreciate you coming to support us to do this work. So Madison hasn't been here for a while, and when it's your turn to speak, while you're waiting for her to come, please raise your hand high so she can remember where you sit. So that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, Madison. So make sure you wait to get the feather before you speak, and then to pass the feather back to Madison when you finish speaking. And I will enforce a $5 speaking without the feather fine tonight. So, and then those fines go directly to the feather runner. Before we get into our agenda, just a gentle reminder, please check your phone if you have one phone. If you have two phones, and heaven help you if you have three phones, please make sure that they're on silent. We would all really appreciate that. So this moves us into, oh, that goes for people in the gallery too. Please put your phones on silent. Unless you're, have my favorite song on your ringtone, and then the agenda for tonight is as follows. Our first order of business is to move the agenda for the spring 2026 session. During this session, we will be considering three pieces of legislation. Bill 001, 2026, the Appropriations Act, which represents the TFN government annual budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. Bill 002, 2026, the Property Taxation Amendment Act, 2026. Bill 003, 2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act, 2026. We will also hear reports from staff and advisory council related to each of those three bills. We will hear update reports from staff on a number of projects and initiatives that are underway. We will consider a motion to appoint members to the Standing Committee on Language and Culture for the next 5-year term, and hold a public service affirmation ceremony. Are there any questions for this spring session legislative agenda? Wonderful. I will now read the motion and then ask for a mover and a seconder. Motion to approve the spring 2026 legislative agenda. Whereas Section 14 of the Tsawwassen Legislature Rules and Procedures 2025 requires the legislature to present an agenda for a legislative session. Therefore, be it moved that the Tsawwassen Legislature approves of the following session agenda. Legislation, Bill 001, 2026, the 2026-2027 Appropriations Act. Bill 002, 2026, the Property Taxation Amendment Act, 2026. Bill 003, 2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act, 2026. Reports from Advisory Council on Bill 001, 2026. Report from Advisory Council on Bill 002, 2026. Report from Advisory Council on Bill 003, 2026. Report from Leaseholder Residents Advisory Committee on Bill 001, 2026. Report on previous legislature resolutions. Report from the Tsawwassen Economic Development Corporation. Update on the Treaty Periodic Review. Update on major projects. Update on the Emergency Management Plan. Update on Administration Legislature Facilities Project. Update on Community Safety Strategy Initiative. Resolutions, opportunity for legislatures to introduce resolutions. Other, public service affirmation ceremony, and motion to appoint members to the Standing Committee on Language and Culture, the SCLC. May I please have a mover? Moved by Laquolia Tia Williams, seconded by Tehuilam Legislature Bryce Williams. All in favor, please raise your hands high. Thank you. Legislature Melinda Squamia.
I'm in favor.
Heichka. The legislative motion to approve the spring 2026 legislative agenda has been passed. Thank you, legislatures. We can now conduct business. So for tonight, to get started on our work, tonight's agenda is, well, we have opening remarks for the session for all our legislatures, and I'm always looking at C's Malott because she always has to go first. Maybe we'll do a change of seats at some point, and then you don't have to go first. Then we'll have the public service affirmation ceremony for 8 new employees. That's a smaller group than we've had in the past, so we'll see how they do with their unison in speaking together. Following the ceremony, we'll have the first reading of Bill 001, 2026, the Appropriations Act, the big reason why we're here at this session, including an overview presentation from our infamous Director of Finance, Mark Dad Joke DeMello. I didn't say bad or good, I just said dad joke. Then we will vote on a motion to move Bill 001, 2026 to the second reading as independent schedules. Next, we'll have the first reading of Bill 002, the Property Taxation Amendment Act, including an overview presentation again from our favorite Director of Finance, Mark DeMello. Then we'll move on to a motion to move Bill 002, 2026 to the second reading. Lastly, we'll have the first reading of Bill 003, 2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act, including an overview presentation from General Counsel Mary Childs, Sister Ginger over there. This will be followed by a vote on a motion to move Bill 003, 2026 to the second reading. Legislators, are there any questions about tonight's agenda? Wonderful, thank you. I would now like to, I just wanted to comment on, was baby Taylor in the ceremonial procession? Yeah, Eve, yeah, boy, oh boy, that was good. Her first ceremonial procession, that was good to have her participate that. We train our legislators young. All right, Eve, pay attention. In a number of years, this is going to be a spot for you at this table as well. Thank you, Eve, for participating in that, and thank you, Legislator Taylor, for bringing her. I would now like to invite our legislators to take 2 or 3 minutes to make their opening remarks, starting on my left with respected Elder and Legislature Kathy Genge Thiesmalat. Put your hand up high. There we go. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see everyone again. It's hard to believe that our term is just about over. But yeah, I hope everybody had a good holiday and enjoyed their time off, and welcome to all the people in the gallery, and thank the cooks, Feather Runner, and the prayers, drumming in. It's good to see everybody. Thank you.
Haichka, Legislature Thiesmalat. Legislature Taylor Baker.
Haichka for the feather and Haichka Squeakle. Good evening, everybody. For those who are viewing in that may not know me, my name is Taylor Baker. I'm a member of TFN's Executive Council and Legislature. It's been an honor to serve on your legislature the last few years, and as Legislator Kathy mentioned, it's hard to believe we're in election year and this might be our last sitting unless we have a summer session. So I'm looking forward to the session, looking forward to diving into the work that Mark Dad Joke DeMello has put a lot of hard work as well as all the directors and managers and staff that have been able to let this session happen. Good evening and welcome to our new staff. Special shout out to my brother Ethan Baker. Whoop whoop. I won't embarrass you anymore, sorry. But looking forward to getting to know the rest of you all, and welcome to TFN. Haichka.
Haichka, Legislature Taylor Baker. Legislature Pelichia, Don Williams.
Haichka Squeaklesium, Haichka Maddie for the feather. Yeah, it's nice to be sitting back at the table here with everybody, and I look forward to our session and all of the comments and questions by my fellow legislators. And we're gonna have some busy weeks ahead of us, and I just look forward to all the discussion, and it's some really big, important sitting, so everyone's input is very valuable. Haichka.
Haichka, Legislature Pelichia. Legislature Halkomatia, Louise Om.
Haichka Maddie for the Feather, Haichka Squeako Sam. Yeah, welcome back table, everybody. So happy to be back at the table with my fellow legislators. Want to give out a big thank you to all the administrative staff that put all this work together, and to our advisory council who a great support system for us for making decisions around this budget. And I'm so glad we're doing work on our safety for Tawasin First Nation. It's one of many first steps. And thank you to our members who say the prayers for us, keep us safe, and the drummers who bring in the heartbeat, and to our feather runners and all the members that join us online and in the gallery. And I also want a big welcome to all of our new staff. Some of them been a while here, so I'm surprised. But I'm so happy for them, and glad we're getting such good people to come work for us. Haichka.
Haichka Legislature Halkamatia, Legislature Kuyakuya, Andrea Jacobs.
Haichka Squeako Siam, Haichka Feather Runner Maddie for the Feather. I can't believe this is our last session. As a group, I've really enjoyed working with each and every one of you, even though I joined a little late. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we'll see some of your faces back at the table again. In particular, I really enjoy listening to more of our legislators speak up when it comes to questions, and just want to thank our staff for being so patient with the questions. I know a lot of mine are repetitive, but you know, I have passions about things. Our natural resources, and in particular safety in our community, is always so near and dear. So I really look forward to this Community Safety Amendment Act presentation. And I just want to thank everybody for all of the work that's put into this as well. Our elders and our drummers and our feather runners, and just lifting everybody up. It's sometimes it's the same people, and just want to encourage anybody to pick up a drum, or to, and I guess that would be including myself, to just be a little more inclusive and putting it out there. So yeah, it's just so great to see more people stepping up in our community. And I think that's it. We better get on with it. Haichka,
Haichka Legislature Kuyakuya, Legislature Spalautuit, Terry Spockton.
Haichka Squeakquel, thank you for the runner. Out siam nat siet ya, ye nat quilmoch, spalak tuet, nat quilmoch al squeak. Terry thanash wanitamalth na squeak. Ait nash qualon quanasi, alt wallop, nat stleet sant siet tam tat salt siam, ni wealth I mat tnat swale. Alt tat tan tamuch. Oh, my honored friends, relatives, and fellow Indigenous people, my ancestral name is Spalak Toet. My English name is Terry. I am happy to be with you all. I'd like to thank the Creator for another beautiful day on Mother Earth. Good evening, respected Speaker, Chief and EC, fellow legislators, elders, staff, and community members. I appreciate the work that staff have done to prepare the budget materials and presentations for us. I look forward to this spring's budget discussion and working together.
Haichka Legislature Spalautuit, Legislature Saltanat, Loretta Williams.
Okay, oh, get closer. Haichka for the feather, thank you, Squeakle. And, you know, like, it's amazing that we are here at this point in our life. And I think we need to have a celebration barbecue at the end of this session, just because. I'd like to acknowledge the drummers, the people making the prayers this time, the caterers, the feather runners, the staff for all their hard work and their patience with us, for answering the questions, even though, you know, like, I tend to ask too many questions, so I'll try to limit it. This was to Mark. Just kidding.
And, like it's great. Hope everybody stays healthy and we'll see you later.
Haitska Legislature Sultanate, Legislature Yalchiwans, Tehuilam, Rice Williams.
OCM, Haitska Matty for the Feather, Haitska Swikel, CM. OCM, CM Yachliwans, Et Tahuilam, Thunisqui, Talitzin, Yathswasan Masteach. My name is Bryce Williams. I'm a member of Executive Council. My Haida name is Yachliwans. And my ancestral name from Tawasin is Tahuilam. Good evening, elders, legislators, staff, TFN members in attendance and online, and leaseholders and guests. Mitsap Kukwelam. Haichka to the cooks and to the table, and for the table blessing and for the prayer, and Haichka to staff for setting up this session and the meeting. And shout out to my partner Shar and my son Remo, and they're at home now. They were just here for supper, but thanking them for understanding my duties and obligation to my nation to be here to meet and conduct this important work. It's an honor to sit here at this table and work together and make Tawasin First Nation a better place to live, work, and play. We're very blessed and fortunate to live here in a time with so many opportunities from our nation to grow and to be successful. There's been a lot of accomplishments during this term. The new Elder Center, the Cultural Hub, turnkey homes for members with more units on the way, and the community safety strategy underway, which is very important to me. We really need to focus on the good health and safety of our community. Along with all that, there's been distributions increase. It's good to have those big deals that we have in our industrial lands. BD being our last one, which has benefited so many members through the Legacy Trust and through distribution. So it's really good to look back and celebrate our successes. And I know there's still a lot more work to do, but just really happy where we are at this moment in time. It's really great to serve our community as an elected member of Executive Council. I always want to make sure that we have a fair, accountable government and administration, and that's something I always want to ensure to our members, that I'll always strive and work towards making sure that equality and equal opportunities is brought forward. So really happy to be sitting here for this session and look forward to the work that's going to come out of it, and thanking each and every one of my colleagues around the table for also taking the time to be here and represent our community. Hands up to everybody. OCM.
OCM. Haitska Legislature Tehuilam. Legislature Luxon Trent Genge.
Good evening. Thank you, Squeako. I'd like to shout out to the Squeako for her hard work, for trying to keep everybody in line when needed. I'd like to thank all the cooks. We are blessed to have this many good cooks on our reservation, and all the drummers that sing us in and sing us out for the prayers and for our walk-in. And I'd like to thank our feather runners that do a lot of work for this and learning on their way while doing this. And I'd like to thank the staff for all their hard work and that present us with all this stuff and all the legal part of it and everything else. But I'd like to thank all us, the legislators around the table, that keep pushing forward on new things. And just like to thank everybody in the gallery and online. Hachka.
Haitska Legislature Luxon. Legislature Squamiah Melinda Cassidy.
Hi, people. I would just like to echo the thanks to everyone who contributed to these meetings, to everybody that's doing these meetings, and I look forward to reviewing the budget with my fellow legislators, sellers, excited to see what kind of new programming we're going to bring to our members and our leaseholders. We look forward to the session.
Haitska Legislature Squamiah, Legislature Locolia, Tia Williams.
Haitska Squeakle Siam, Haitska Maddie for the feather. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to all the new TFN employees. As we open this session, I find myself reflecting on the path that we've traveled over this current term, and especially with budgeting. Budgeting is often seen as spreadsheets and line items, but over the last few years, we've seen the numbers transform into real, tangible change within our community. I've witnessed the programming we've passed here in this heritage building in the rec center. I've seen everything come to life. For our youth, seeing the expansion of cultural and recreational programs that give our young people a sense of belonging and pride. For our elders, watching the direct impact of enhanced home care and support services and fitness programming, all to honor those who paved the way for us. And our land, observing environmental stewardship initiatives that ensure we are protecting what is most sacred for the generations to come. I'm excited what is headed our way this next fiscal year, and I look forward to all the discussions with you all. Haitska, pass the feather.
Haitska Locolia. Maddie, I'll speak, and then we'll pass the feather to the chief after I've done. Thank you. I too have been pondering and doing some reflection on the work that we've done, and my thoughts are kind of all over the map because we've done and accomplished so much together. And I feel that we really have been a collaborative group for Legislative Assembly, getting things done on behalf of our members. I'll keep my comments short so we can get to business. I see another future leader over there on the table, just anxious to get her opening remarks to be shared as well. Glad to see the young ones participating. I'd like to now invite Chief Squamish, Chief Laura Cassidy, for her remarks.
Haitska Squeakle Siam and Haitska Maddie for the feather. Yeah, I too would like to echo what everybody has said. I'm very thankful for sitting here with all my fellow legislators, and really have a lot of respect for our Squeakle for all the work she does with us. I want to say thank you to all of our staff, our directors and managers and that have worked on our budget. A lot of work has gone into it, and seeing the output of it, it reflects on what they've heard from that our community needs are, and it's so good to see that. And the other thing is pretty well, I liked a lot what what was it? Locolia. Reflecting on all of our past successes. I know I always feel pretty proud when I think of all of our successes that we've had in the past few years. I want to welcome the new staff that will be swearing their oaths this evening, and thank the cooks and the drummer and the prayer. And I'll just keep it short too, because I know we want to get on with our agenda. So, oh, and also I just have to say that little one that's on the table over there, that's my granddaughter, Serenity. So I'm pretty happy to see her here. Okay, Haitska.
Haitska, Chief Squamish and Grammy. Thank you for all of your inspiring comments, legislatures. It's always a really good way to start our sessions with those comments. A couple things you might notice that Kevin and Steve are running around with the camera, and so they're taking footage of us for our government TFN legislature video that we're putting together. Kevin Lee, who some of you have seen before and maybe have been interviewed with him for some of the different work that we've done. On Thursday, we're going to set him up in the admin building for any legislators that want to participate in a 2 or 3 minute interview of some sort to contribute to this governance video. The video is meant to be described TFN's governance and be an educational bit for members and others. And yeah, Cal, where are you? Did he leave? Okay, I can. Oh, Gabby's here. If you have any question, Gabby or Cal can answer that about you. We're going to be doing our photos on Thursday. Hopefully everybody's feeling better. We're going to try again. And I was thinking about the comments about the different drummers that one of our legislatures met. I think it would be fun if our drum class, we could come in and have them help us with that. So yeah. It's always good to be expanding and sharing these rules. So thank you, everybody. Let's get on with the next part, which is sometimes one of our favorite items, is the public service affirmation ceremony. We have a couple staff that we've been waiting for them to come, and our schedules have finally managed to have some synergy. So, but we know that they've been working with the integrity and the heart of the oath that they're going to say today. So I would now like to call upon Chief Cassidy and Human Resources Manager David, and for the public services affirmation ceremony. And David, raise your hand high so Maddie can see you. There we go.
Hajka, Squeakle CM. Under Section 14 of the Government Employees Act, we ask all new employees to participate in a Tawasin public service affirmation ceremony. This ceremony must include a pledge of honor, respect, and confidentiality. The purpose of the ceremony is to ensure that the employee understands that they are making a commitment to Tawasin First Nation, and that the employee pledges to honor and respect Tawasin members, history, and culture. To ensure that the employee understands the importance of confidentiality when under employment with Tawasin First Nation, to provide the employee with a basic working knowledge of the governance structure of Tawasin First Nation necessary for their employment, to provide the employee with a basic working knowledge of the Tawasin First Nation community and its history and culture, and finally, to provide the employees with acts, plans, policies, and other documents with critical information about the goals of Tawasin government and rules and expectations governing their employment. At this point, I would like to ask Chief Cassidy to say a few words before we continue.
Hechka David, and welcome to our new employees. The Tawasin people have exercised sovereign authority over Tawasin lands for thousands of years. The Tawasin people now exist as part of two worlds, traditional and modern day. On the treaty effective date, April 3rd, 2009, we asserted our inherent right to self-government and instituted a system where the two worlds can coexist. One of these laws requires that the new employees participate in the affirmation ceremony and make a public service pledge to the Tawasin First Nation and to the Tawasin members. By making this pledge, new employees acknowledge their responsibilities and affirm their intent to work to the best of their abilities on behalf of Tawasin First Nation. So, well, welcome. I look forward to hearing your pledge.
Hajka, Chief Cassidy. So most of these new employees with us tonight have been hired since last Legislative Assembly, and yes, there's a few that either couldn't make it last time or they were part-time employees and now are full-time. And possibly one who may even have been to an affirmation ceremony a long time ago, and it serves as a refresher and a welcome back. And one person cannot attend a NEAT tour. She's feeling under the weather. She'll join us next time. Here's my symbol. So I'll be asking these new employees to step forward and give us a little wave before they walk over to meet the chief to sign their oaths as I give a brief introduction. So I'll start with introducing Baltej Sandhu. Baltej joined us as a regulatory compliance and enforcement officer. While working towards completing his bachelor degree in criminology, he did work in this field with Surrey Crime Prevention and TFN prior to joining us. Welcome, Baltej. James Lubin Mariska joined the Family Services team as a community wellness support worker. Prior to joining us, he worked as a addiction counselor and support staff at the Circle of Eagles Lodge Society in Vancouver. Welcome, James. Warren Wendell also joined the Family Services team as a community wellness support worker. Before joining us, he worked in client services at the Launching Pad Addiction Rehabilitation Society. Welcome, Wendell. Priti Saul is our new controller. She joined the finance team and she is a certified professional accountant, has a Bachelor of Business Administration and over 9 years of related finance experience. Welcome, Priti. Gurleen Kaur Atind joins the health team as the Health Services Administrative Coordinator. She has a diploma in business management and bookkeeping. She was working as an administrative clerk at Fraser Health before joining us. Welcome, Gurleen. Ethan Baker joined the Public Works team as a Public Works landscape and parks worker. He is a TFN member. Before joining us, he worked at Tarragon Homes and Tidewater, as well as way back as a summer student, as a laborer and landscaper with TFN. Welcome, Ethan. Cheryl Parrish joins TFN as an archaeology field work coordinator. She's a member of the Swan River First Nation in Alberta. She's a member spouse, and her children and grandchildren are TFN members. Cheryl has worked with TFN in a variety of capacities.
She's not a member spouse, she's a mother of members' children.
Oh, mother of members, yes. Cheryl has worked with TFN in various capacities over the years, and it's great to have her back in a regular full capacity now. Welcome, Cheryl. Samit is our head chef in the events and recreation team. Thanks to his extensive experience as an executive chef, he is overseeing and preparing high-quality meals for TFN members, staff, and events. He has a master's degree in hotel management. Samit is a member spouse. Welcome, Samit. Natasha Slade is our community services coordinator and a TFN member. Before taking on community services work with TFN, she was already doing one-to-one support work in the youth center with K-12 students and their families. Welcome, Natasha. And now for the group reading for the public service affirmation ceremony. So remember, I'm going to count you in. 1, 2, 3. That concludes this session's new employee affirmation ceremony. Hechka.
Welcome all of the affirmation ceremony participants. Thank you for doing such a good job of being in unison. We'll just take a 5-minute pause here just to let people that want to leave, maybe refresh our tea or coffee, but not enough time for a cigarette. Well, that was also one of the most unified, I think, oaths we've heard. There's one other one that was also, in the time that I've had to listen, there's only been two that have been completely unified. So that was a good one. And it was great to see some of our members say their oath and all the new staff there, and look forward to getting to know them a little bit better and connect with them in the work that they're doing. All right, so off to the business that we should be, is on our agenda today. Bill 001, 2026, 2027 Appropriation Act, first reading. Take care, goodbye. We're moving into the first reading of the 2026-2027 Appropriations Act, and I would like to call upon Chief Swamisat, Laura Cassidy, to introduce the bill. Raise your hand high, Chief, for Maddie. Thank you.
Hachka Squeakle CM and Hachka Maddie for the feather. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Executive Council and as Chief of Tsawwassen First Nation, I'd like to begin by thanking all the Tsawwassen members who are joining us, as well as the staff and the legislatures that make this work possible. For the next month, we have asked you to dedicate time to this table that might otherwise be spent with your friends, family, children, and many other responsibilities you have in your lives. As Executive Council, we recognize the sacrifices you are making to be here, and we deeply are appreciative of your commitment to carrying out this important work. The annual budget is the most important piece of legislation that this table passes each year. It is a document that guides the actions of our entire government for the coming year and enables us to deliver the valuable programs and services that benefit our friends, family, and all those living on Tsawwassen lands. Over the past several weeks, Executive Council and the Finance and Audit Committee have been working hard to create a budget that will not only allow us to continue building on last year's accomplishments, but also introduce the new and exciting initiatives. There is a lot to look forward to, but I am particularly proud of the new investments our government is making in our health and family services programming as we begin implementing our newly developed community safety strategy. Member well-being is at the heart of this budget, with increased program funding for psychology, counseling, treatment, and the men's support home, and the community pantry, all examples of how we are taking steps to ensure that no member is left behind. These program investments will be supported by new staff positions within our member services departments, including a new care coordinator, a community health worker, and a social assistance outreach worker positions. There is much more to discuss, but I'll save the rest to our review of the schedules. I am looking forward to hearing what each of you have to say about our plans for the 2026-27 fiscal year. With that in mind, I'll now read the motion to introduce Bill 001-2026, the 2026-2027 Appropriations Act. Whereas the Finance and Audit Committee has the responsibility of developing the annual budget for review by Executive Council under Section 13 of the Finance Administration Act, and whereas Executive Council has the authority to approve the annual budget for the 2026-2027 fiscal year under the authority of Section 21 of the Financial Administration Act, and whereas the annual budget must be submitted to the Tsawwassen Legislature before the third Monday in February, and whereas Executive Council has reviewed and approved the 2026-2027 annual budget, Bill 001-2026, the 2026-2027 Appropriations Act, and are recommending its approval to the Tsawwassen Legislature. Therefore, it be moved that the bill that Bill 001-2026, the 2026-2027 Appropriations Act, be introduced for the Tawasin Legislature's consideration, debate, and approval.
Haichka Chief Squamasa. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Legislature Tehuilam, Bryce Williams. All in favor? Thank you. Legislature Melinda Cassidy.
I'm in favor.
Thank you very much. So the motion has passed. And now I would like to call upon our Director of Finance and Corporate Services, Mark DeMello, to give us a brief overview of Bill 001-2026. Thank you, legislators, and thank you, Mark.
Haichka Squeakle CM, Haichka Maddie for the feather. Squeakle, I just wanted to say that in my previous job, they used to call me the money god. I'm not sure if I like that better than dad joke Mark, but I guess I got a month or so to think about it. I will take you through the presentation on the budget. And for members watching online, we'll do a really high-level overview tonight because kind of like a Netflix series, the coming episodes will build up and take you into more character depth and detail as each schedule gets reviewed by the department managers. So, you know, come along for the ride because the next month's going to be fun. So as legislators know, our overall budget is broken out into local government services and member services. Local government services are those available to anyone that lives or works on TFN lands. That includes leaseholders, people using facilities like the malls or use our roads, access our parks, those sorts of things. And then the member services budget is a budget that serves all members, whether they live on lands or live elsewhere. So looking at our budget, a number of those schedules are local government operating schedules, basically schedules 1 through 6. Local government capital is part of schedule 7. And then the member operations are schedules 8 through 13. And member capital is schedule 14. Like a jigsaw puzzle, it all comes together into the Appropriations Act, Bill 001-2026, which you're going to be reviewing shortly. The budget is now almost $90 million in total. The local government component is about 37%, and the member expenditure portion 63%. I guess off note is over the 15 years or 16 that Tawasin has been a Treaty First Nation, this budget has grown from about $10 million to the size it is now, and it's just a testament to all the good things that are happening on TFN lands, as legislators have referred to earlier on in their opening comments. I know during the affirmation ceremony, staff were, pledged an oath for confidentiality. But I got to say, when you're a staff member in an organization like TFN, it's kind of hard not to boast. So we'll be confidential about the things we need to be confidential about, and proud of the things that we need to be proud about, and there's a lot to be proud about. So the local government budget, our revenues are up $2.1 million. The primary sources of revenue, as you can see, are property taxes, utility charges, development fees, and interest and other. The majority of the change that has happened, it's gone up by about 2.1 million. The increase is primarily in our property taxation base. Before, we looked at staffing additions. Expenditures were up by about $900,000. And then when we factor in the other initiatives, which I'll cover off in a second, we've been able to bring our accumulated deficit down a little bit. So the big change in expenses for this year are actually quite few and easy to describe at a very high level. You will, of course, get much more detail when every schedule is presented. But primarily, there's been growth in the IT budget of about $250,000, largely because of staff growth. So as we hire more people, we have to provide them with more equipment and software and all of that sort of stuff. The Cowichan litigation and some litigation that we are expected to engage in on encroachment issues and bluff issues have resulted in our legal budget going up about $325,000. There's a continuation of the investment that we've made in the last couple of years into our communications function, where we went from no staff at all to beginning to add to that. We're looking at an additional $200,000 for redeveloping our website, for store development, to add content so that we're up to date and relevant, and for additional public engagement. Our engineering services budget is up $100,000. That's primarily for emergency management initiatives, and just of note, that is 100% grant funded. And then our government facilities budget is going to be up about $100,000, and that's for maintenance like painting and staining of the youth center, the rec center, and we've also doing some furniture upgrades. On the staffing side, we've added a number of new positions. These new positions cost just over $500,000 in total. And when we say net costs, some of these come with offsetting savings in other areas. So this is net of those savings. The projected net deficit for this year is $4.1 million on the local government side. It was 4.7 last year. So even with expanding a number of our services and adding staff, we have been able to bring down that projected deficit by $600,000 this year. On the member side of the budget, we're looking at about a $2.2 million increase in revenues. The revenue increases, we have many more funding sources, but in this case, the revenue increases are coming largely from our trusts, which are able to contribute more in income to the government, and then there's a little bit of increase in the block funding. However, we are also going to see a pretty substantial increase in the expenditures on the member side, and we are investing more and more as you can tell from the pie chart earlier, the member side of the budget has been growing. So what are those $3 million in increases? $1.7 million is going towards member distributions. There's an increased quarterly distribution, which we'll talk about when we cover Schedule 8. But the vast majority of the increase is due to the fact that last year we had kind of underestimated how much the Legacy Trust was going to generate. So we've bumped up the budget this year to try and accommodate that. The budget this year is significantly increased for health and family services. We're following on some of the work that was done, probably started 4 or 5 years ago when we first began to budget for psychology and counseling and treatment. And over the years, the uptake of those programs has really increased, and I think has been a testament to how well they've worked for members. And so we're increasing the budgets again by $1.3 million to provide the health and safety supports that the community is looking for. On the member housing side of the budget, there's a $900,000 saving. This is by looking at the timing of our servicing grants a little better. So it's not like we're cutting the program, we're just anticipating a little more closely the work that will be done and the grants that will be taken up this year. And then in our environmental sustainability and stewardship department, there's an additional $600,000 that's being budgeted for archaeology and repository programs that are in the process of being developed. And then finally, with the startup of the Halalam Collective in the new fiscal year, they're going to need a little bit of support and seed funding until they can find their own feet. And the budget includes a $600,000 contribution to the Halalam Collective. As Chief noted in her introduction to this bill, we are adding a significant level of support on the member side of the budget. There, again, a little over $500,000 in staff positions. And some of these come with funding from other sources through grants, but net, we are putting $500,000 more. There's a whole host of positions, mostly in health and family services, but also in our natural resources department and economic development. So we're projecting a pretty substantial deficit this year. We're projecting a deficit of $11.1 million. It was 9.2 last year. But what is of note is that almost half of that deficit relates to servicing grants, where we had revenues that we received in the years prior, but we just didn't spend the money because there was no demand for those servicing grants. So the revenues were received, they were put into surplus, and for this year they'll be drawn out of surplus to deal with the payments that are expected. So our real deficit is more like 6 million instead of 11, which is high and not something that we would see as an ongoing possibility, but we're also searching for new grants, and that'll help offset some of this deficit. And also there's times when you got to put money in at the front end in order to see savings down the road. And I think especially the investments in health and mental health and community wellness the investments are needed now, but we're going to see long-term savings and long-term benefits. So the number might look a little scary, but I don't think it's quite as scary as it might seem on first blush. So Squeakle CM, Heichka, happy to answer any questions that the legislature may have. Thank you.
Heichka. For the subsequent binging that we're going to be doing over the next 4 or 5 weeks of each of our schedules. As a reminder, legislatures, we are in first reading, which means that this is about asking clarification questions about the bill. We will have the opportunity to debate the bill during second reading. So now I would like to open the floor, invite any legislatures that might have any questions or clarification questions about Bill 001-2026, the Appropriation Act. Legislature Lacolia, Tia Williams.
Heichka Squeakle and Feather Runner. I'm not really sure how to ask this, but Mark, do you know how much of a percentage of this budget would be covered by grants and other sources? Thanks.
Heichka Legislature, Mark.
Heichka Squeakle CM. I'll just move back a little. The grants are $7 million out of 50-some million on the member side of the budget. So 3.5% maybe. But as I said, we have a number of different funding sources, and that the diversity of funding is what helps us provide the programs that we have. Heichka Squeakle CM.
Heichka, Mark. Any other questions of clarification? Legislature Saltanat, Loretta Williams.
Thank you for the feather, and thank you, Squeakle. You know, like, this is a lot of money. All I want to say is, you know, you said it's not going to be ongoing, you know, like with the deficit and everything. Did we not say that last year? You know, like, just to refresh our memory. And it's great that we have a lot of staff coming in, but besides the grants and everything else, where's the money coming from? Okay, Heichka.
Heichka Legislature Saltanat, Mark.
Heichka Squeakle CM. The budgeted deficit last year was high at 9 million. But I think one of the questions that Legislator Halkamatia, or Councillor, as her councillor and a member of the FAC has asked is, we projected a deficit. Are we actually going to end up with one for the current year? And the answer is probably not, because most of the reason for the deficits is being carried over into the new year. I think if we were to go back in history a little bit, the expansion of the lands department many years ago was a particularly good example of what I'm hoping to expect on the member side of the budget. There was a significant increase in land staffing. People just questioned, I guess, how many staff we kept adding, but we needed to deal with the work that was ongoing at the time. We haven't, if you look at the lands budgets going forward, the last 2 or 3 years, they've had almost no increases because they hit the staffing levels they needed. The same is going to happen on the member side of the budget. You know, I think Legislator Saltanat is asking a really good question about the sustainability in the long term, but we're going to hit optimal staffing, hopefully soon. And that'll allow us then to, ease into our future years and keep our budgets a lot more stable. That's good, quickly, CM. I hope that answers your question.
Hajka, Mark. Any other questions of clarification from legislators? Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that presentation. This is the opportunity now for us to move forward in debating our schedules as we move now to refer. I'd like to now refer this bill to the Advisory Council for study and ask for a motion. I'll read a motion to move the bill to second reading. Motion to move Bill 001-2026, the 2026-2027 Appropriations Act to second reading as independent schedules. Whereas the Tsawwassen Legislature has the authority under Section 512C of the Constitution Act to enact Tsawwassen laws. And whereas the Tsawwassen Legislature under Section 24(2) of the Financial Administration Act must approve the annual budget. And whereas under Section 23 of the Legislature Rules and Procedures Manual 2025, each bill must receive 3 separate readings. And whereas in accordance with Section 29 of the Legislature Rules and Procedures Manual 2025, the Legislature will consider each schedule separately during second reading. Therefore, be it moved that Bill 001-2026 proceed to second reading, and that each schedule of Bill 001-2026 be reviewed, debated, and voted on separately during second reading. May I please have a mover? Moved by Legislature Taylor Baker, seconder, Legislature Halkomatia Louison. All in favor? Thank you. Legislature Melinda Cassidy, Squamiah. Thank you. This motion has passed. This bill is now been moved to second reading. Hajka legislatures. For our next business tonight, I would like to call upon Chief Squamish, Chief Laura Cassidy, to speak about Bill 002-2026, the Property Taxation Amendment Act 2026, and then read the motion to introduce the bill. Chief?
Hajka Squekalsiam and Hajka Maudi for the feather. Tonight I'm introducing the Property Taxation Amendment Act 2026, which introduces clarifying provisions to the TFN's Property Taxation Act. Property taxes have played an important role in our nation's success. They have enabled the Tsawwassen government to build the roads, parks, water systems, sewage treatment facilities, and other pieces of infrastructure that our community lacked before treaty. A year and a half ago, our legislature approved amendments to the Property Taxation Act that resulted in significant benefits to how we administer our property tax system and help support the economic development of Tsawwassen lands. Tonight, we're introducing housekeeping amendments to the Property Taxation Act that will further improve our taxation system by clarifying the application of tax exemptions for members and non-members with status. I will now read the motion to introduce Bill 002-2026, the Property Taxation Amendment Act 2026. Whereas under the Treaty First Nation Property Taxation Enabling Act, British Columbia has delegated broad authority to Treaty First Nations to develop their own property tax laws. And whereas Tsawwassen First Nation has entered into a real property taxation agreement with British Columbia that provides Tsawwassen First Nation the authority to collect property taxes from non-member residents and leaseholders on Tsawwassen lands. And whereas the proposed amendments set out in Bill 002-2026 clarify that member family trusts should be exempt from property tax, that Tsawwassen members should be exempt from property tax on Tsawwassen lands that were not formal reserves, and that non-members with status are exempt from property tax on former Tawasin lands. Therefore, it be moved that Bill 00-2026, the Property Taxation Amendment Act 2026, be introduced for the Tawasin Legislature's consideration, debate, and approval.
Hajka Chief, do I have a seconder? Seconded by Legislature Hulkamatia Louise Alm. All in favor of first reading of this bill, raise your hands, please. Thank you. Legislature Melinda Cassidy Swamia. Thank you. The motion has passed. I would now like to call upon Mark DeMello, Director of Finance and Corporate Services, to give us another Netflix overview of Bill 002-2026. Mark?
This one's a limited series. So the Property Taxation Act amendments are coming forward to you today for consideration because as a treaty First Nation, TFN has the ability to tax our members, but through the Property Tax Enabling Act, Real Property Taxation Agreement with British Columbia, our act, the TFN Property Taxation Act, extends property taxation to non-members who have interest on TFN lands. The act is the law that imposes taxes, and it also sets out the process that we use to administer our taxation authority. We amended this last year to refer to the new real property tax agreement with BC, and we also took Class 6 commercial properties and we divided them into two segments to be able to better manage our tax policy and make some advancements that were necessary to our economic development initiatives. We're looking to make some more amendments this year, and the reason we're bringing this now as opposed to in the fall is that for BC assessment to be able to incorporate some of these changes for the 2027 taxation year, they need to have it before the end of October. So what is in the amendment? They're mostly housekeeping edits. There is an added definition of eligible residential property to ensure that the amendments we're making are restricted to residential properties only and not to commercial or industrial properties. There is another housekeeping amendment which removes references to 12 years from the effective date from Section 10. That's obviously long gone and no longer relevant. So this just cleans up the language in the Act. And what it does is it reflects TFN's ongoing practice of using the educational equivalency tax to fund member services. And that's something we'll see in the budget as you review Bill 001. There is an amendment that affects trusts. Now, this is clarifying language because we believe that this applies already, but because the language isn't super clear, we just wanted to make it very clear to BC Assessment and members too, that if a residential property is held by either a TFN member or a TFN member trust for TFN members, then that property would be exempt from taxation. There wasn't a specific reference to TFN member trusts previously, so it's very clear now that they are included in the exemption. The wording that we have also makes it very clear that TFN members are exempt from residential property taxation on all TFN lands, not just the former reserve. And also, even if the tax exemption under Section 87 of the Indian Act is removed, TFN members will be exempt. So this is really clear, unequivocal language. For non-members with status, we previously had inconsistent treatment of non-members with status. Some were taxed, some were not, and that inconsistency needed to be resolved. So we were either going to have to tax all status non-members or exempt all status non-members. And what we're recommending in the proposed amendments is that through the addition of Section 15.3 and the deletion of Section 13.10, that status Indians who are not TFN members will be exempted from property taxes on residential lands on the former reserve for as long as Section 87 of the Indian Act remains in place. So unlike for TFN members where the exemption is broadly over all TFN lands, and regardless of whether Section 87 is in place or not, this one's much more focused. If Section 87 is removed, then status non-TFN members would then pay taxes. Squeakle CM, that's the presentation. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions about the reasons or the application. Heichka.
Heichka, Mark, thank you for that presentation. Legislatures, we are in first reading. If you have any clarification questions about this bill, we'll have an opportunity to fully debate it in second reading. But I'd like to offer the opportunity for any legislators for clarification questions about this. Legislators? Legislator Saltanat, Loretta Williams.
Thanks for the feather and another opportunity to make a comment. Can I get clarification on what you said about the BC assessment? I didn't get that part and I missed some information. So you said by the end of October. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, okay. Heichka.
Heichka, Legislator Saltanat. Mark?
Heichka, Squeakle CM. We would need to provide BC Assessment with a copy of the amended act because BC Assessments does the assessing on TFN lands, but they use TFN law to guide them. And if we didn't do this now and we waited till the November sitting, that would be after that deadline, and so wouldn't apply to next year. So doing it early in the year allows them plenty of time to rethink the way they enforce it.
Heichka, Mark. Any other clarification questions about this bill being tabled? Thank you, Mark, for your presentation. I would now like to refer the bill to Advisory Council for study, and I will now read a motion to move this bill to second reading. Motion to move Bill 002-2026, the Property Taxation Amendment Act 2026, to second reading. Whereas the Tsawwassen Legislature has the authority under Section 512C of the Constitution Act to enact Tsawwassen laws, And whereas under the Legislature Rules and Procedures Manual, Section 23, each bill must receive 3 readings. Therefore, be it moved that Bill 002-2026, the Property Taxation Amendment Act 2026, proceed to second reading. May I please have a mover? Moved by Legislature Taylor Baker, seconded by, may I please have a seconder? Seconded by Legislature Tehuilam, Bryce Williams. All in favor, please raise your hands. Okay. Legislature Melinda Cassidy, Squamish. Motion passed. Thank you very much, legislator. This now moves Bill 002 to second reading. Bills, for our next piece of business tonight, I'd like to call upon Chief Swamisat one more time, Chief Cassidy, to speak about Bill 003-2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act 2026, and then read the motion to introduce the bill. Chief Cassidy?
Hachka Squeakle Siam and Hachka Maddie for the Feather. Today I'm introducing the Community Safety Amendment Act, an important step in strengthening safety and well-being for everyone in our community. Community safety is a major priority for Tsawwassen First Nation. For the last several years, we have worked with members, staff, and experts on community safety strategy. Now complete, the strategy lays out the comprehensive recommendations to address harmful behaviors and protect our members, families, and lands. The bill before you represents Phase 1 of the work to respond to recommendations 21 and 22 under the Public Order and Safety House Post. Right now, the Community Safety and Security Act only allows Executive Council to act in situations involving drug activity. These powers have helped us respond to some issues, but they do not address other serious threats to the community safety. Both the legislature resolution and the CSS expert panel recommended expanding the act to include a broader range of harmful activities. This bill puts those recommendations into action by introducing a new definition of harmful activity and ensuring EC can intervene when there is an unreasonable risk to public safety. I want to emphasize this bill is part of ongoing, thoughtful, and community-driven work. It strengthens our tools today while laying the foundation for the broader safety initiatives ahead. I look forward to your questions and your support as we continue this important journey together. Okay, now I'll read the motion to introduce Bill 003-2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act. Whereas the resolution R004-2023 of the Tsawwassen Legislature called on Executive Council to explore amending the Community Safety and Security Act to broaden the scope and powers of Executive Council to make an order they consider advisable to address harmful actions to members outside of drug activity to maintain peace and order on Tsawwassen lands. And whereas the Community Safety Strategy Expert Panel recommended broadening the act to apply violence, human trafficking, weapons offenses, and other activities of concern to members. And whereas, I don't know if I can pronounce that, honoring our ancestors charter and the 2026-2031 strategic plan highlight community safety as a priority of the Tsawwassen government. Therefore, be it moved that Bill 00-2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act, be introduced for the Tsawwassen Legislature's consideration, debate, and approval.
Hachka, Chief Swamisat. Chief Swamisat has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder? Legislature Bryce Williams, Tehuilam, as a seconder. All in favor? Legislature Melinda Cassidy, Squamish. Thank you very much, legislatures. The motion has passed. I would now like to call upon Mary Childs, General Counsel, to give us a brief overview of Bill 003, 2026.
Heichka Squiggle and Heichka to the feather runner for the feather. I am pleased to be here giving you a brief presentation about this bill. As you've heard from Chief Swamasat's introduction, the motion, this is something that is part of ongoing work to improve community safety on Tsawwassen lands. And it comes in response not only to previous legislator resolutions, but also the important work that's been going on for quite some time of the Community Safety Strategy Expert Panel. So as you've heard, the point of this bill is to broaden the scope of the Community Safety and Security Act, which is the Tsawwassen legislation that gives Executive Council powers to make orders to address activity that is a threat to safety on Tsawwassen lands. And so why the change? Well, right now the law allows Executive Council to make orders to address drug activity, and the Act defines drug activity in a way that excludes simple possession and personal use. It's basically dealing in drugs or activities related to dealing, trafficking in drugs on lands. And so historically, since this act came in, Executive Council has used these powers to largely do things like make no trespass orders against non-members on lands, and also to put fencing around premises used for drug activity and related things, putting up signage, increasing police surveillance, and other measures that are intended to protect the community. But one of the concerns that's come up is that Executive Council, under the legislation, doesn't have these powers to respond to other types of activity that is a concern for, or that are concerns for community safety. So it's limited to drug activity. And so the expert panel, after looking at a lot of information and consulting members of the community over the last couple of years, recommended broadening the act to allow Executive Council to act for other reasons as well. And you heard Chief Swamasat mention some of that a couple of minutes ago. So the panel recommended broadening the act to make it possible to apply these powers to violence, human trafficking, weapons offenses, and other offenses or other activities that have been of concern to members. Now, this is only part of a larger package of community safety work, and you'll be hearing more about that later on in this legislative session. But Executive Council made a decision to introduce this bill so that the immediate sort of phase one of these legislative steps could be brought in now. Some of the other steps are going to be more complicated and take more time. So the changes in the bill, just to give you an idea where they would appear in the Act. It's not a very long bill, and it does four things principally. One is introduce a new definition of harmful activity, and then throughout the Act, wherever the Act currently says drug activity, that will be replaced with harmful activity. The preamble that talks about the purpose of the Act, instead of just talking about drug activity affecting community safety, will also refer to other things. And there's a new requirement expressly stated in the Act that whatever the harmful activity is, Executive Council has to be of the view that it poses an unreasonable risk to public safety. So the new definition I talked about, harmful activity in the Act, if this bill passes, will mean, oh, so there's a typo there, means drug activity and any other activity that is prescribed by regulation enacted under the Act. So the act itself is not going to try to have an exhaustive list of things that could be harmful activity, because those things may change over time, and what the community is concerned about may change over time. And we don't want to necessarily have to wait for legislature to be able to make an amendment in order for some flexibility. So the idea is that the harmful activity category will be set out in more detail in regulations. And that allows Executive Council to consider ongoing community consultation when deciding what to put in the definition, and to modify the definition as circumstances change over time. Maybe different things will become more significant as community safety concerns. So that gives Executive Council theoretically some pretty broad powers to define what might be harmful activity. It could be very broad, but there's a counterbalancing provision in this bill, so that you know, there are many things that might be annoying or inconvenient for the community, but the harmful activity will have to meet a kind of threshold of seriousness. It has to pose an unreasonable risk to public safety. So something that is not a serious risk wouldn't meet this test. So the Executive Council will have the power to act where there's an unreasonable risk to public safety. So what's next after this? Well, as I said, the panel recommended a number of changes to TFN's community safety laws, and Executive Council, some of those changes are going to take longer to prepare for. But Executive Council decided to start now with something that could be done quickly. So when legislators are considering this, please remember that this isn't the final word. There will be more developments that are being worked on and will continue to be worked on. But the changes, for example, that affect community members are going to require some careful thought and consultation about having a fair procedure. And we also have the Coast Salish Legal Project that TFN elders and knowledge keepers and external experts are working on. The focus of that work is reviewing this act and recommending changes that will reflect Tawasin laws and Coast Salish laws and values and incorporate them. So this act itself is going to be reviewed, and recommendations will come out of that project. So if this bill passes, the next step is going to be for Executive Council to enact regulations that will kind of flesh out that definition of what's harmful activity, to make some changes to the process and procedures in the regulations so that we're sure that there's an effective and fair process, and working with the Delta Police Department, who are, of course, enforcing the no trespass orders and some of the other orders made under the Act. And that's my brief presentation. I'd be happy to address any questions that legislators might have.
Haichka, Mary, for your presentation. Legislatures, we're in the first reading, and I'm opening the floor for any clarification questions about the bill. We'll have an opportunity to fully debate during second reading. Did I see your hand go up there, Legislator Tuhilam? Legislator Tuhilam?
Haichka Squaiko CM and Haichka Maddie for the feather. I'm very glad that this work is underway, and as I stated in my opening comments, this is very important work, and that I stand behind, that I want to be involved in as well. The good health and safety of our people should be one of our highest priorities as leaders, and I definitely support broadening the act, and just want to say thank you to all the staff and everybody that's been involved in this work. It's very much needed in the community, and I'm glad that it's underway, and it's going to be a work in progress, but I think when we put our minds together on such an important issue and topic, that we can come out with some good positive changes, and I look forward to that. Haichka.
Haichka, Legislature Tuhilam. Legislature Taylor Baker.
Haichka Maddie for the feather and Haichka Mary for the presentation. Very similar comments to Legislator Williams. You know, just over 3 years ago, when I had the honor to be elected to sit at this table for the very first time, one of my first resolutions was to amend the Community Safety Act. And although it's just over 3 years ago, I'm so glad to see it in front of us for this session. And within that 3 years, I've seen personally the consultations I've gone in this and ensuring that we do it right. So I'm looking forward to the discussion, but I'm just super, super pleased to see this here for tabling and for seeing where we can improve for the next amendments. But yeah, just thank you for taking our thoughts back and carefully articulating it to ensure that it's done right. Haichka.
Haichka Legislator Taylor Baker, are there any other clarification questions about this bill? Wonderful. Thank you so much for your presentation, Mary. I would now like to refer the bill to Advisory Council for study, and I'm now going to read a motion to move the bill to second reading. Motion to move Bill 003-2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act 2026 to second reading. Whereas the Tsawwassen Legislature has the authority under Section 512C of the Constitution Act to enact Tsawwassen laws. And whereas under the Legislature Rules and Procedures Manual, Section 23, each bill must receive 3 separate readings. Therefore, be it moved that Bill 002-2020. Therefore, be it moved that Bill 003-2026, the Community Safety Amendment Act 2026, proceed to the second reading. May I please have a mover? Moved by Legislature Halkamatia, Louise Alm. May I have a seconder, please? Seconded by Chief Squamish, Laura Cassidy. All in favor? Legislature Melinda Cassidy, Squamia. Thank you very much, legislatures. The bill has been moved to second reading. Whew, there we go. We have now got our spring session rolling. Good work tonight, legislatures. This is the first of many long and busy evenings for us. It's good that we'll be able to break a little bit earlier. I want to say Haichka to you and to your families for the time that you're away from them, and appreciate the dedication and the importance that you put on the good work and the work that we have to do together. And that concludes our business for our first night. I would like to extend our gratitude to our elder Quistania for opening up in prayer, to our relative and beautiful voice, to Huilam, for drumming us in and also going to be the processional drum out, to Legislature Spiloktuit and Ukomtanut, Laura Splokton, for starting our meal in a good way with a table song. Thank you, Madison, for being our feather runner. I hope we're warming you up. We're going to keep you busy on the subsequent days when you come back, but you did a great job. Thank you very much for being here and supporting us in this important work. We're glad to have you back, Madison. Thank you to Ramsey Catering for the delicious meal, and to staff, to your presentations, even though it was mostly the Mark DeMello night. We had one other presentation as well, and to our newcomers that did their oaths. Thank you to the elders that are here tonight and those that may be on stream. To our advisory council members, I think I see that there were 4 of our advisory council members here tonight. Thank you, Haichka, and if there are any of them that are online, thank you for being here. To any members that are here in person, thank you for being here and online. And our guests. And I also want to say and extend a gratitude to our AV support team for getting us all together with our cameras and our microphones. Thank you very much for letting our voices be heard. With all that, this meeting is adjourned, and there's a ceremonial procession on leaving, and Councillor and Legislature Tehuilam will be drumming us out. Thank you for the honor and privilege of being your Squeakquel tonight. Haichka Eichsnet.